I'm really confident with how our team is doing. We're probably the best we've ever been.
I think the gap between Imagine and us is quite huge.
Most of Teammates' games look kind of like controlled chaos. If we could kind of adapt to that chaos, we could do pretty well.
I don't really expect us to lose.
I think we'll be able to outmatch them in all our lanes.
I want to prove to myself I have the level to be in LCS.
I feel extremely confident going into the match. I think as long as we keep a cool head, we should be easily winning these matches.
Welcome back, everyone, to our coverage of the North American Spring Promotion Tournament. Now, we've pulled a bit of a broadcast switcheroo. Joining me on the analyst desk for our next series is Sam Kobe, Hartman Kensler, and Team Impulse's AD Carry Apollo. So first of all, gentlemen, welcome to the desk. Good afternoon.
Hello.
Nice to see you both.
This desk is much cooler than the other desk I was just at.
It is much cooler.
Temperature-wise.
Oh, temperature-wise. Well,
okay.
Okay, fine. Whatever.
Thought I was giving you a compliment?
I did. Well, we've got Apollo on the desk. It was a pretty cool
I
desk.
saw you giving me a compliment, but
I guess not. All right, well, Apollo, I have a question for you. We just watched Team Coast pull a 3-0 to qualify for the LCS. Looking at that team, how do you feel, or what impact, rather, do you feel they'll have in the LCS come the spring?
I mean, it's obviously like hard to say right now. They just played against Enemy, and I mean, I don't think any of us really expected them to do, or like, I didn't expect them to do that well versus Enemy. I thought it'd be a little bit closer to the series, but they were really strong. I think they kind of thrive off of emotion almost. Like they get really pumped, and then it could go like a lot worse if they lose a game. We kind of saw that versus, it was Renegades, I'm pretty sure. So,
finals.
But just like judging off their play, it seems like they're going to be either like middle of the pack or maybe even leap for like the top of the pack if they like do well during the off season.
All right, so about keeping that mentality.
It always is hard to do that for teams that get in Summer Split too, since you're going to have to wait. The whole game is going to change. There's going to be a whole new preseason, and there's all these different things that are going to come in. You know, Juggernauts, maybe Chris takes those up.
Yeah.
And they find a lot of success.
Well, yeah, as long as the game stays top lane focused, and you'd be happy to have performances like that from Chris throughout the season. Now we're teeing up the second series, Team Imagine versus Team 8. For Team 8's jungler and analyst, pro gaming is a family affair. Porpoise says his twin brother Cheese Beluga has been the rock that's helped him compete in the tough LCS.
Hey, I'm Braden Porpoise Schwark, the jungler for Team 8, and my brother is Lennon Cheese Beluga Schwark, who's the analyst for Team 8. My brother is my twin brother. We've pretty much done most of everything together.
Being a twin typically means that you're interested in a lot of the same things, the same hobbies, hang out with the same friends.
Having a twin brother is like having a copy of yourself in a way. We both like the same things, and we both are kind of equally matched in those things. We've always played sports together since a young age. We played baseball, volleyball, we did taekwondo, mixed martial arts. All these things we competed against each other, and then when it came to facing the other team, we were just the best teammates.
Me and my brother started playing World of Warcraft when we began playing games. We got really into the game.
And then when MLG kind of dropped World of Warcraft, we moved on to League of Legends, and that was like the majority of our competitiveness. When we got League, we had 2 computers, we could play on the same team, and that was really fun for us because we got to be really competitive as a team instead of just always facing each other, trying to compete against each other.
When we began playing League of Legends, we knew from the start that we wanted to go pro in the same team.
We together kind of dreamed of this double LCS player in the same team kind of dream. There was a good chance for me to get into the LCS, and we kind of took that chance. Even though it didn't mean that we were both on the same team, we could take different roles and help each other in a different way.
When my brother was offered a position in Team 8, I couldn't allow him not to kind of take up that opportunity, even though we wouldn't be on the same team.
So when I got the offer from Team 8, I could feel from playing with the team that it had a really good chance of making it to the LCS. So I had to take it.
That was insane. Takes the Lenton into the Robin actually gets caught. There's the death sentence. That was huge. Team 8 have broken the cycle. They're going to get into the LCS with some incredible team fight play.
I would have preferred that we were on the same team, when we entered LCS.
So instead, we had him kind of join Teammate as an analyst, and he kind of followed the team that way and gave me support.
When I criticize my brother, it's typically very harsh, vice versa also. I feel like it improves us both quite quickly because we can be very honest with each other.
He just kicks me in the pants all the time if I make mistakes, and he'll say stuff to me that nobody else will really feel to say because they think it's rude. He'll just tell me the truth.
Hey, Braden, are you okay with me saying you suck at 1v1s?
To settle feuds nowadays, we just 1v1 in the mid lane.
You're going down.
He doesn't play that much, so I have a chance to beat him in the mid lane.
My brother thinks he wins against me sometimes in 1v1s, but in reality, it's just me suiciding on tower.
It's really comfortable to have him on the team because I always have somebody to talk to honestly and get that honest opinion of how things are going.
Our goal right now is completely focused on keeping our spot in the LCS.
An interesting dynamic to have a family member on a competitive team, especially at such a high level. You know, I'm trying to imagine myself playing, you know, any sport with a sibling of mine. I don't think it would go well.
The thing that stuck out to me most was the part where he snuck in. He was like, when we got League of Legends, we had 2 computers. Because that was huge. I remember with my brother, when I was little and growing up, fighting over computer time was everything. And that's why we couldn't play World of Warcraft together either. But when you get to be on the same team, it changes everything.
Yeah, Apollo, you had siblings. Was there any kind of competitive edge between the three of you?
I mean, like Kobe said, I had 2 older brothers, so that means I never got
And
to
you
use
never
the
get to
computer.
use it.
It was just like, okay, can I please get like at least 1 hour? But it was definitely not possible. But I used to play, I played League with them sometimes, and then I just kind of got better, I guess, because I played when they were like in high school.
You have no
and
idea
college.
how painful that is for them. I have a younger brother, and when your younger brother starts getting better than you at things, that's worse. Like you think it's bad being the younger one and not being able to get to do it. Yeah. No. When you surpass the older brother,
my brother sucks.
Yeah, it's an awful feeling. Yeah, it's an awful feeling. Anyway, well, Team 8 very narrowly avoided playing in the promotion tournament. They were the first victim of Cloud9's 6-step plan for world domination.
Yeah, they were. I mean, they had dreams of their own of making playoffs, and they were knocked down to 8th after losing their tiebreaker match on the last day of the split. And this series right here, this is actually going to be Cali Troll's farewell tour. This is going to be his last game with the team. Talked about it pretty much all during the season as well. The pharmacy school was kind of looming over them the whole time. So he has made that commitment. And he would like nothing better than to leave the team in a good spot and get them back into the LCS, sort of see them off in a positive manner. And this is actually a very good patch for him to do that. He's always been a guy to pick up new champions in the top lane, play Poppy and things. Fiora is out on this patch now. Gangplank, as we saw, is huge. So those are either going to be permabans against them or we get some exciting games.
Speaking to Kiwi on the desk earlier, he was talking about how top lane focused he believes this meta is. Apollo, to you, do you think Cali Trolls is the right guy for the job to make sure that Teammate requalifies for the LCS here before heading off to school?
Yeah, I mean, he's been one of those guys to pull out the weird picks. I think he played Gragas top. I've seen it sometimes in solo queue and stuff, but I hope he just doesn't go too overboard in that sense, right? I hope he knows when to tone it back. Okay, I'll just play Shen this game. Or
they've been quick to slap him with the Malphite and be like, "You're back on Maokai duty."
But I want to see him I want to see a Fiora. I think it was banned the last few games.
Yes, it was banned. It was banned in the previous series, so unfortunately we didn't see her there. But
hopefully we see her this time because she's pretty fun and unique. And then Gangplank as well. I don't want to see him. He's just really no
pro player wants to see Gangplank ever.
Not Gangplank though. But yeah, I mean, he's definitely. I think he's gonna play a carry top laner, and then maybe if things go wrong, he'd probably go back to the tanks. Yeah.
some possibilities for some fun top laners in this series. Now, meanwhile, Team Imagine has gone through a series of transformations this summer with a number of roster changes, but really came into their own once they locked in the lineup that they have now.
Yeah, specifically bringing over Steelback and Moon. I mean, Steelback, he had all this Fnatic experience, and he made that video about talking about how he was going to help the rest of the team, teach them as much as he could from his experience over in Europe. And then Moon, this guy just popped out of solo queue almost out of nowhere. I usually peruse like the top challenger junglers and look for their runes and champions to see if there's anything I haven't thought of. And this guy had like multiple accounts that I had never seen him before. I actually thought he was a Smurf of someone else. But he's been a really big pickup for them as well. Another good challenger jungler, maybe along the lines of Shrimp, at least trying to get there. But aside from the strong individual performances, this Imagine team has also had good shot calling and good map control, which has been kind of a rarity in the challenger scene. So that's one of the big things for them.
As an AD carry, thoughts on Steelback?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen him in solo queue. He's done really well. He's just a solid AD carry. I don't think he like shines in any aspect in particular. I just think he's like an overall good player.
Consistency.
Yeah,
is key.
consistency.
Now, what about Moon? As most people don't have much insight into him as a player. Have you run into him in solo queue?
Yeah, definitely. And I just know that he plays Evelyn with Morellos and just one-shots me. Like, that's all I see. He just comes my lane and then one-shots me. And then that's pretty much the entire game.
Yeah,
so.
good experiences with Moon.
Yeah, so
okay, well, that's
good.
all you need. If that works, it works. Well, to get this series underway, we're going to pass it off to our casters.
Thank you very much, Dash. Hello, everyone. I am Rivington Bisman III still, and this hoodlum to my right is Aiden Zyrene Moon, and I would love to cast a game with you today.
I would love to cast a game
Maybe
with you,
even
too.
a few.
I'm glad you're calling me a hoodlum, causing some trouble in the pregame lobby here. But yeah, we're ready to go.
Think we're going to get 5 on this one?
I don't know if we're going to get 5 on this one. That's why I want to see it play out. I honestly think it will probably go about 4 games. I know that both these teams, once they get a hold in the series, are able to close it out.
All right, well, let's see. Let's check out the starting lineups with a quick roster rundown. On the blue side, it's going to be Team Imagine. In the top lane is Chunky Fresh, junglers Moon, ManCloud in the mid, Steelback at AD carry, and Baby at support.
And on the red side, it's Team 8. Cali Trolls in the top lane, Porpoise in the jungle, Golden Glue in mid, Nien at AD carry, and Dodo on support.
That's right, Curry Shot on the side of Team Imagine, and History Teacher always on the side of Team 8, bringing out the history. Hopefully they can wash away what happened in this season, kind of write anew here, get themselves back in.
Yeah, hopefully he won't be teaching about teammates' LCS career in the future, because then that means it's not history and it's still ongoing.
This is actually going to be a very good game. Really, you ask anybody in this matchup, they say Team 8 might have it. Then they rethink of who has come together to be Team Imagine. And they say, actually, you know, I'm rethinking the way this might go. It's definitely going to be a lot closer. Picks and bans will tell. We're going to see Fiora already on that ban list. Nobody's going to get a chance at that game 1.
And these teams are not switching sides between games. Imagine will be
not at all.
Side all 5 games. Team 8 will be red side all 5 games. That's how the side selection worked. Those are the sides that these teams prioritized. That means Team Imagine is most likely going to be banning Fiora every game. They might not ban the Gangplank, but I do expect it to still be a ban, and the Malphite as well. So Cali Trolls was a guy who was always playing Malphite even before it was considered a meta pick and brought out in the LCK very recently.
Right.
So that's a champion that would allow Team 8 to team fight, which was one of their strengths coming into the season and all throughout it. They just had to be able to find them at the appropriate time.
It's what we saw for kind of their roll in, if you will. The rollout is what you see at the end of the day, but we saw that's what got them in fighting at the end of the game, the end of their promotion tournament last time. The hooks coming from Dodo, the engages from Cali, but also those are things that got them into trouble throughout the season. Going too hard, not actually going in together, but very separated in some instances.
There we go. And Nazir's still on the table. I expect that to be the last ban or the first pickup here between these two teams. You were talking about Cali Trolls in charge of the engagements. Well, Porpoise Pops became a little bit more in charge of the
a little more vocal
as time went on, and that seemed to give them a little more avenue into the game. But Cali Trolls, when he was in Challenger, was one of the best top laners, if not the best. He was giving Chris a run for his money in the top lane. He just qualified for LCS in that last set. But Cali, up against LCS top laners, seemed to struggle. And in the team play, it wasn't the individual performances that he was having, because it's a team game and he was becoming the main initiator. Now the meta shifted a little bit more towards him carrying. I want to see if Team 8 adjusts towards that, because it was always a problem. And it's the Lulu, first pickup here. Leaving the Azir up, too. I think that's a mistake there, because Golden Glue will jump on that very quickly.
See, Team Imagine feels pretty confident coming into this one, knowing the players feel like they have a good chance at getting in. Looking at them as well, we've been talking about Team 8.
picking up that Lulu. ManCloud, Steelback as well. Talk a little bit about Moon and the rest of the team as we get into the game, but as I said before, a lot of names to recognize on that side of Team Imagine. With that Lulu pickup, we're looking at Ari and possibly Elise on the other side. There hasn't been too much jungler love coming in here, except that Evelyn ban, which they are afraid of from Moon.
Yeah, and Moon will most likely go with an Italy if it's left up for him. He has this style where he loves to carry the game. Kobe was talking about how he's jumped through challenger ranks. This guy wasn't challenger last season, and the season before that, he wasn't even diamond.
Very quick
He
to climb.
keeps climbing. He puts in so much work, and he's so hard on himself, too.
Yeah. We'll see that pressure he puts on himself in the game today. Even especially if he gets behind, we may see it come out a little quicker. Imagine definitely going to try to prevent all of those instances. Alistar, Elise picked up on the other side. Definitely a good amount of initiation. A little bit of a front line there from Team 8. ManCloud on your screen. Said we talk about a few of these names. A very big veteran of the LCS. Had a chance of playing on stage this season as well. And now back with Imagine to get into the LCS once more.
Yeah, ManCloud versus Golden Glue. These were the guys that were back and forth.
Oh, that's
getting
true.
Subbed in and getting jumped into the team. And now they actually have their own squads fighting up against each other. And just like we're talking with Team 8, Golden Glue, mid-season acquisition. Nien, mid-season acquisition. Team Imagine, everybody on this roster is pretty much a mid-season acquisition except for Chunky Fresh. He's the only original roster member here.
The Braum Olaf, kind of a real Broloff pick there, if you will. It's going to be very nice for them to as well get into that front line or stop this engagement that might be picking people off. Could be this Ari locking for Golden Glue. We've seen him more give more strength to the team on kind of AD, non-conventional mid laners, and then the conventional mid laners are just consistent for him, you could say.
Yeah, we see him go to things like Jace, like Varus very recently.
Yeah.
But we have seen the Azir and the Victor being good pickups for both Golden Glue and ManCloud. But Imagine looked like their team composition. I want to jump over to them for a second. When you see the Lulu locked in, you're expecting either a Kog'Maw for Steelback or an Olaf for Chunky Fresh. And the Olaf for Chunky Fresh is actually a deviation from what we've seen Team Imagine run in the past. Because Chunky Fresh has been in charge of their engages, and he runs Scion or Hecarim. He runs those as many times as he possibly can. But now there's more emphasis on carrying from the top lane. And you can see that Olaf, and I want to see what Cali runs into that with this last pick from Team 8 that'll be coming out shortly.
And you can see Team 8 did pick up the Azir. You mentioned that got through Zyrene, and that's going to be trouble for the mid lane. ManCloud feels like it's something he can handle. We'll see what Golden Glue can put down there in the early part of the game. Steelback possibly on the Corki, and we are just looking for, actually that's going to be Lulu in the mid lane, I guess. Now we have the Braum, and it's going to be Gragas in the jungle.
Yeah, Team 8 expected that to be a Lulu in the mid lane, so they didn't pick up the Azir immediately and locked in the core of their support and their jungler for their CC. So they made a good front line. They made some pick and control here. And now they have Azir to knock down turrets. They have Tristana to knock down turrets. This team is looking to disengage and to siege very, very heavily.
Steelback waiting to lock in. Another name easily recognized from the European LCS with his time on Fnatic. Brings so much to Team Imagine. Closing out the game, continuing pressure towards the middle part of the game, and just overall shot calling. Really just a lot of aspects.
Yeah, the shot calling is mainly Baby, but Steelback has been coaching the entire team with his Fnatic experience. He has international experience. He played at MSI, went to Game 5 against SKT, and now he's brought all of that into the Challenger Series. And we saw Imagine reap the benefits immediately.
You saw that.
They were looking like the 5th place team, and they shot up. They went to 4th place and then contested Cloud9 Tempest and then knocked them down to 4th, getting the 3rd place spot and the last position in the promotion tournament. So Imagine with the acquisition of Steelback definitely saw immediate results.
Going to be going on to the Corki. Has had a few games on that recently against Renegades and whatnot, so be right as rain onto that one. Hopefully get his Triforce fast and help this team out towards the middle part of the game. We'll see what Team 8 finalizes with. It's going to be the Shen going back to Cali Trolls in the top lane, so it still allows himself some initiation while helping the team if they do get into a tight spot.
Yeah, I want to see this Shen ultimate used proactively during the early game. I want to see them force things down in the bot lane, try to get an advantage there, because what you can do with Cali Trolls is on paper, Cali Trolls is a little bit stronger than Chunky Fresh. But then if you look at the bottom lane, Steelback versus Nien, you do have to give that edge to Steelback. But if you can spill your top lane over very quickly into the bottom lane, you overcome that and you just destroy the entire map and you put it in your favor and push a team advantage, not just a lane advantage.
So looking at these teams coming in, just thinking about their history, lane swap wise, who likes it, who doesn't? We see Imagine doing it a lot.
So It's funny because both these AD carries are people that in their careers, we've looked at Nien, we've looked at Steelback, and we're like, you have to lane swap with these guys because they're going to lose lane and have CS deficits. So both teams would actually benefit from a lane swap for their AD carries because these are guys who like to team fight. That is their strong point.
Right, and it's true too. You see you just think of the supports they play with, still pretty calm in lane as well, not trying to initiate anything themselves. So should work out all around for both of them in that sense. Hopefully they can get out of the laning phase nice and safe for the fights. This series is about to go live, so hit us up on Twitter. Send hashtag IMG win or hashtag T8 win for the team you think will join the NA LCS. Shoot that over to LOL Esports, at LOL Esports, I should say, and we'll tally those up and put them right on the bottom throughout the game. I love that. Ernest Elf Tristana. So cute. He's just going to deliver presence of death to you. Nien trying to do what he can. We saw Nien come in this season as well, a little bit late for the team, but with a lot of confidence. And it was something that fell off a little bit. He second-guessed himself more or less.
Yeah, Nien came in with a lot of confidence, said he was going to basically, quote-unquote, dumpster double lift. And then he went back on it a little bit, and then the season was not picking up for him. And now he's up against Steelback, and like I said, these guys like the lane swap, but they both respect each other.
Yeah, he does. And Nien says he's got his work cut out for him going up against Steelback.
I'd say he's their star player for sure, and he's definitely better than people make him out to be. It's hard to say how much he's improved since he was on Fnatic, but playing against like players like Deft and everything at the international tournament like MSI, it's like people, the average fan doesn't realize how much you can grow from an experience like that playing against the best players in the world. So I think he has grown a lot.
Grown a lot. Also, as Irene said, you kind of saw the effect he had on the team immediately when coming over. It was just a catalyst for success there. So hopefully carrying that on now to the promotion tournament. Imagine is going to try their hand at the LCS as Team 8 looks to hold their spot. Looks like we will get that lane swap in. Nobody's going to be able to call this one. Top side for Nien and Dodo. They'll be having a safe lane for now. We'll see what the junglers and top laners can get out of this early game, if anybody can make an impact.
Yeah, it's just a guessed lane swap at this point because they don't have the deep vision. But yeah, I think it's a smart move by Team 8 because you want to have Tristana in a lane by herself so that she can siege the turret down. Also, Dodo, we knew him as a Morgana, Thresh, Alistar Braum player.
Yeah.
Likes to roam, likes to make picks. So you free up Dodo by pushing a lane with Tristana, you're in great shape. Going for the invade here, double invade, not looking to freeze the lane, but instead looking to harass the jungler. There they go, they give solo experience to Chunky Fresh, so he hits 2 immediately, but that delays Moon's jungle. He started jungling on the strong side, so Dodo's just going to push him all the way out of the jungle.
I was going to say, it doesn't look like Dodo wants to give up just yet and make sure that Moon has to go to the other side. Good knowledge here for Porpoise as well. Cali Trolls going to take a little bit longer to get back to his side, but he'll be right as rain with all the experience that he needs. Dodo to approach lane. Chunky Fresh shouldn't have too much trouble here once that starts getting pushed. You're up against the Tristana, so that should help him a little bit as Olaf. It's not going to be fun, though, for now.
He's still soaking experience. Dodo needs to find him out, get him out of this bush.
Good point.
There you go. Make sure he's out of here. So ultimately a good start for Chunky Fresh, but at the end of the day, he's on the wrong side of the map. He still has his TP, though, and this is getting slow push towards him, but they're going to have 4 people up here. You can see the route that they took on Team 8's side. Porpoise and Cali Trolls will both be up here, and you can see everybody being called up. Moon is coming up, Baby's coming up. If they spot him, but I don't think they did. I think he was right out of range there.
They're very ready to fight this. Moon pathed all the way around as if there were to be a ward at Wolves, thinking that Team 8 had already set up the defense for this, and they did. One just came over Grom. So that's going to be a walk-up for everybody. They call in the resources.
It looks like
they are going to try to get some damage down. A flash coming in from Dodo. That was the only summoner burn so far in this.
The winners of this are Imagine. They get farm out of Chunky Fresh, and they get to push the bottom wave, and Cali loses his TP early. So ultimately, after everything's all said and done, the tiny little trades, it ends up with an Imagine victory there.
Cali teleports down to the bottom lane to start soaking up the CS. Steelback is pushed into the turret. So everything starts to pan out from a little bit of action in the top lane, but you can see Team 8 already off the bat trying to set something up, get themselves a lead.
Actually, take back what I said. Because the blue buff wasn't taken in the early jungle route, Porpoise actually gets a large clear on this side of the jungle, and Moon is put even further behind. So actually,
Moon's had a tough time.
It's a Team 8 victory.
He pulled off just after Raptors, right? So, and then went all the way around.
Yeah.
He's almost been walking around his jungle rather than through it.
Yeah, Porpoise is just doing a great job in the jungle right now. His route was much better, starting on the strong side of his jungle and then transitioning over, which you should be doing in a lane swap. So overall, it was a bit of a mistake there by Imagine to do it that way.
Wonder if Imagine will come into this game kind of feeling
maybe it's far forward,
dictated by the pressuring numbers of Team 8. If they send so many top lane, do we have to send so many, or can we just get out with the numbers we have already? Imagine may find themselves at fault if they kind of keep trailing Team 8 in their movements.
You can see in the mid lane, going off the movement point here, just I want to track this advantage that's growing here. And it's this mid lane. ManCloud versus Golden Blue. Golden Blue's Azir is up 9 CS at this point. He's been able to get himself a Fiendish Codex, no problem. And now he'll just get back to the lane right on time. So Golden Blue has been harassing ManCloud. I believe he had to go for an early back for a double Dorans due to being harassed in the lane. Yeah, just a bit. Opted for that back.
Okay.
Yeah. Ran himself out of mana very early to get the double Dorans.
So just kind of looking at Imagine's composition right now, they have the Lulu, and then they have the Corki somewhat. Where their damage they're going to come for in these late game fights? Because Golden Glue can stand off with Azir, he can get disengaged as well. It looks like it's going to be hard for Imagine to actually get what they want.
It's a bit of the struggle there. It's going to be relying on Chunky Fresh. Very reliable person with his engages, but you're going to be Lulu speeding up an Olaf. Hopefully this Olaf for Imagine, they're hoping that he gets into the point in the game where he has Black Cleaver. He's able to have his defensive items, and he can just run Nian down and go after Golden Glue as well. But the problem is there's a Shen on the other team. There's an Alistar on the other team. There's a lot of peel for these carries, and Team 8 overall just has better protected threats. But there is always
one person down becomes difficult.
Exactly. There is always that separation you can create with the ultimate from the Gragas and the Braum. And you can also make it so that Chunky Fresh has a good early game and gets to the point where he's a huge terror. That's what their composition hinges on, is can ManCloud get through it and just be supportive in the team fights Chunky, and does Steelback have an okay laning phase and a mid-game power spike?
So far, only 400 gold in the favor of Team 8. They're doing a nice job of pressuring Imagine, finally stopping them from getting a few CS back and forth. I actually believe they were able to stop the siege there, so little here's and there's that Team 8 is grabbing an advantage on. Porpoise again into the jungle. Vision placed farther back. Remember, they blew the flashes on this, so there may be some tricky moves to come from Imagine.
Looking for the 4-man top. Pulled Golden Glue off to the side. ManCloud,
good.
ManCloud immediately recognized that and started shoving up the mid lane as soon as possible. They are taking a lot of damage on this turret, but that is what you get for picking a Tristana. You slowly but surely get to take this turret with the wave clear, with the passive wave clear. Steelback versus Cali Trolls. He's fighting him right in the minion wave. Gotta be a little careful about that.
Very, very close. Steelback knows a lot of the pressure is towards the top side. He saw Porpoise, and Moon as well was kind of walking around his jungle, but caught up a bit in CS. Does have that Trailblazer up. Let's see if he can keep going through the jungle at a nice clip and get the first engage out for the junglers here. Teammates already tried towards the top side. No kills in this game just yet. And Imagine definitely played the second one better, right? They quickly adapted. They said, we don't need a million people up here. We'll just walk out, play the wave.
And now I want to see, like I talked about, that Shen ultimate used proactively. They're slowly but surely getting this top turret. I want to see them keep at it, honestly, but they're backing right now. They might lane swap it back, but it doesn't look like it's what they're going to have in mind.
It's the alley going. Dodo's going to start walking towards the mid lane. He may be going to throw wards. It'll definitely be the tell from Nien's movement, and you are correct. Looks like he starts jumping towards that top side, so he goes back. Keep clearing top side.
Yeah, because what's going to happen here is this Tristana with the BF sword is going to passively shove this lane against the Olaf, run him out of mana. You'll eventually chunk maybe 200, 300 HP off the turret.
Right.
Do that over and over again, and if nothing disrupts the laning phase, no jungle ganks, and we haven't seen too many successful ones. We've seen 0 successful ones. That will get you the turret over time. Then you swap it back, and the Corki push versus the Shen, he's not going to be able to get to the turret. If he does get to the turret, he gets taunted, you risk taking a lot of damage. So you'll end up one turret over this team comp if you keep at what you're doing. And then you put pressure on Moon to make a move.
So far, clearing out wards, trying to get the team enough vision around this dragon, at least to get themselves some deeper wards. You can see they're only just past the river here, so not too much information to be given, but enough
They're
kind of try to get themselves closer. Nobody saw that. Baby missed a ward.
Yeah, they're sacking top lane. They're letting him get it. Nian is going to take this top lane down in the next wave. But they're going to try to dive bottom. This is what you have to do to try and compensate for this. If they get a successful dive off, get everybody here on time, they get this turret.
I was going to say, if Baby didn't actually get a ward over the wall, he didn't see Nian and Dodo, but he did. It just cost one extra. They're able to secure this turret in the bottom, so a little bit of global goal for themselves. As you said, Nian would just push out the top lane, as he does.
Yeah, you don't just keep somebody pushing against him, because then over time, it's just a futile thing. He'll eventually get the turret. I'm glad they pulled him down to the bot lane. Chunky Fresh is now going back up to this top lane to try and go back at it.
He definitely having a little too much time alone for himself. A lot of resources on the bottom side of the map for Imagine, and Nian is really just playing with fire right now. What you would think for an AD carry, but he's relatively safe.
Yeah, there's that pink ward on the left side of Gold and Blue, and then there's that ward that's in the side that'll see people roaming, or at least see ManCloud roaming if he wants to go to the top. It is a longer lane, you do have to worry about that, but he has Cali Troll's Shen.
Yeah.
He can always show up there on a whim and give him some protection.
Can't forget about the Shen. Teleport is up along with the Stand United, so if he does have to make a cross-map play, he's right back to defending whatever he needs to. Really good omnipresence to be had there from a Shen player. It's always nice to know you can go back and forth, take a team off guard, especially, as we were saying, Imagine doesn't have those people to zero somebody out immediately, so you know you're going to be helpful and then be able to get back to lane. It just pays off even more. Things are looking good for Team 8 right now, coming into the mid-game. BF Sword Avarice on the end as he builds up, and Steelback looking, should have about a 13-minute Triforce for himself.
This is a big advantage, though.
Yeah, opening that up quick.
Yeah, Azir able to get a CS advantage over time, very minor one though, and then push this turret over time. Slow sieges. He basically acts like a Tristana in this lane, where he'll poke you out, he'll wave clear, and then he'll get to the turret, do about 200 damage, do that over and over again, and then he gets it. And this composition is built for sieging. I talked about it at Champion Select. Lots of peel, Alistar Shen, lots of protection for your two mixed damage siegers.
Right.
So they have good wave clear, and they have good destruction of turrets.
Good positioning by Team 8 as well to get first dragon. We just saw that entire area warded by Imagine, but the way things got positioned and the timing of everybody coming back just allows Team 8 to come up with the first objective there after turrets have already been taken. Not even any forward wards, so Team 8 has to be feeling pretty good coming into this middle game. Or middle game, we're only 11 minutes in, I guess.
Yeah, no Trinity Force power spikes.
Semi-early game.
No early game spikes even.
Right, nobody's spiking. Those bombies are finished up though. Gonna help Shen to get a bit of a push on his lane and stay away from the turret. Nice for him in the top lane. See Steelback 105 to 100 in this bot lane. See if he can start to make an impact for the team.
Yeah, the person who is spiking though would be Golden Glue. Completed the Nashers. Now he gets to clear the waves out very quickly, gives a lot of poke over to ManCloud, and then he has wards in his inventory. He's ready to start pushing up, and if he teams up with Corpus, they're able to create a roaming unit and ward the side parts so that they can see roams that follow, and they can also get priority or at least positional advantage when they roam to a different lane. That's what I want to see coming out here. So he wards the middle of the lane so that he can see which side he ends up going to after he's already gone somewhere.
Looks like he wants to get a little use out of this blue buff. He will find this pink ward, which will be eventually cleared, and which is right now the only pink ward right now on the map for Imagine. 3 are coming out for Team 8. That's that consistency. They're in LCS games every week. Those are wards that they're ready to place, and they're going to always be giving them vision. You're going to have Imagine coming up with those if they really want to match the pace.
Grouping up at the bottom for both teams, but once again, Golden Glue with the blue buff easily clears out the minion waves with the Nashers. And gets some camps while he's at it too, so his CS numbers are just going to slowly get inflated. But like I said, he gets control over these parts of the jungle, and that's the spillover from the mid lane that you see.
Yep.
And this was not a lane that we were expecting to see a large advantage come from. Let it be a turret or tiny CS advantage. The CS advantage is so small, it doesn't really mean anything. But the turret, the fact he's able to keep pressuring him, the pressure is a large advantage that you see on the map manifest itself over time.
Pushing into Lulu as well. You always have the soldiers sitting there. You glitter lance once, but still, you hopefully, you're thinking you can keep the minions off the turret with those glitter lance. But he has done a very nice job. You said that CS lead is a little bit, but that's what we would see from ManCloud before, right? Very poke-oriented champions. Previously, he'd be down a few CS in lane and then have the most kills in the league because of fights.
Yeah.
That's the way ManCloud plays.
And he's even clearing it further up.
Yeah, wards up as well, making sure that he can't get hit by Moon.
Yeah, and here comes Porpoise. You get wards on the left side of the jungle. You get some vision in this area, and now it's yours. You get to control. You put down pink wards, you get to rotate and make plays like this. You get to attempt making plays like that.
You jinxed it.
You get the attempt, and then they get to siege turrets. That's the problem.
This was already half health from
They're going to get this.
from the end
Blue
earlier.
backed.
Super set up from that, so they can easily take it down. It's almost like they were biding time. Is Imagine going to make a mistake? If they don't, we can eventually go for that once the wave does reach it. So they're kind of just playing the clock right now. Teammate getting the advantages wherever they can, whenever they can. Looks like they know they have overstayed their welcome here. But during this time, Dodo setting up nice deep wards on the bottom side for even more plays once things get set back up.
Yeah, it's always very hard to kind of track how a team got an advantage when there's no kills or team fighting.
Right.
And it didn't even manifest itself in a CS lead either. Golden Blue was just shoving, getting turrets. And the fact that he was able to get priority there and team up with Porpoise was what made this happen. And now it's a 2K gold lead, and they're up 2 turrets because of this.
It was kind of just the pressure in the runaround. You see 47 to 47 CS in the jungle, so even though that Moon kind of went back and forth, that didn't do too much. It was what happened after that. Everything that was still Imagine trying to kind of chase teammate. Looking for where they would go in those lane swaps. Something they definitely got an advantage in. And now sit here with a 2.4 thousand gold lead. This is Moon now trying to get in with the team. This is exactly what they need to do, is start getting some of these wards cleared. Doesn't look like they're going to be able to spend too much time there. Already pressure from teammate towards the mid side of the map.
Just the vision difference right now on the map.
Yeah.
3 pink wards on the left side of the map for teammate. All of the jungle of Imagine is warded by teammate right now. They have collectively 6 to 7 wards spread throughout both quadrants of the enemy jungle. And they even have their own river warded. Whereas you look at what Imagine has, they have 1 ward really high up to protect Chunky Fresh in the top lane, and then everything is down bottom where they still have that 1 turret that they desperately don't want to lose, because that would be pretty much the extra push of the snowball down the hill.
The placement of the wards as well. One's in the Baron brush, one's right next to where ManCloud's backing. And you don't usually pass that brush unless you're exiting or entering Baron, right? You go in through the left to get the blue, or from Wolf, so that could sit there for a long time. It's just the amount of things that seem to be on the plate for Imagine right now is too much to multitask with the way they're behind. Still a lot of game to go. We are seeing the Triforce come out now for Steelback. It might be the time for Imagine to group and start a few things. Black Cleaver finished up on a Chunky Fresh. We have been saying they're down a bit, but we actually haven't seen the power of their team in one of these fights. So there's still things to be seen.
There's been no team fight. We've seen people walk by each other at turrets, looking for it, but the other team has basically said, you know what, check to your king, check to your king. You have to move out of this, right? No actual action.
Kind of a tricky territory to be in, especially for a new team. You come in thinking you have nothing to lose, but you want to win everything, right? You did have a pretty good season, so they want to get that win. But as they come into this game, you got to think, you know, you have 5. Do you try a lot in the beginning, or do you kind of sit back and see the pitches the other team has?
Callie interrupted the TP.
Right now, it looks like they're sitting back and seeing
he's coming in himself.
Teammate is throwing at him. Porpoise very, very low, goes down to the Gatling gun coming in from Steelback. This could be that cleanup. We were waiting for the fight. That's a double. Could be the triple. Shot goes over the wall. Steelback does grab the kill, and they're going to force teammate right out of a fight.
It's exactly what teammate did not want to fall into, and Imagine exactly a team fight that they wanted. This is a composition that wants to group up. They want to all be together for this fight, and Steelback got the perfect fight there for himself. Triple kill for him, and now they get to push up the mid lane a bit. No mana on Golden Glue. They're going to be able to take this fairly quickly.
Nicely done. Get some attacks on that. Not too many people actually getting up. Only ManCloud and Moon. They don't want to give them too much of an advantage if there is a hit up from Dodo and from Golden Glue. But out of mana, not going to be able to do much on the side of teammate. Chunky Fresh to the top side. Looks like he'll get some good damage on that turret. And we just said it, Zyrene. There may be a gold difference, but we haven't seen the fights yet. And I guess Imagine was just kind of waiting.
Yeah.
Waiting for this one.
This TP got interrupted by a taunt.
Right.
And then he Shen ultimated in. And he went in. Ooh, yeah. Steelback's already on the backside, and he was able to get the Azir out of the fight. And then everybody was grouped up. Nien had jumped into that fight as well.
That literally could
too
happen
far forward
at a better time to get your Trinity Force AD carry.
Yeah.
A triple kill.
The Trinity Force AD carry, they played around the spike perfect.
Absolutely. That was incredible. Very nicely done by Imagine, knowing their boundaries, if you will. And it looks like they were just kind of waiting for that one to come up. We're fine with the Dragons kind of going over to teammate in the end with that fight. Would have liked to get that, but things are paying off now with the patience. That's 3 assists to ManCloud in the mid lane, who wasn't having the best mid lane, and now 3 kills to Steelback.
Yep, now Steelback is definitely off the ground. This Corky's going to have a really good time in this game. But we always talk about Trinity Force Power Spike. Mid-game Power Spike for Corky, 1 item, 2 item. And it's a cliche at this point. It's basically everybody's like, oh, mid-game Power Spike. But it's a thing for a reason. When you have a Trinity Force and the enemy is going for an eye-edge build and they don't have their attack speed multiplier item yet, they rely more on RNG. You rely on actually just pumping spells out, getting those autos, and you do an immense amount of damage at that point in the game. And that's exactly what happened there for Steelback. You saw him decimate that team, and Baby had a very large impact as well as the rest of the team.
Gonna have to watch though, teammates still very big. Ryla's finished up for Golden Blue, creating a bit of pick potential. If anybody like Porpoise or Dodo is on the end of that slow to keep you in place, they're gonna go ahead and start grabbing map control. They still feel powerful. You can see how quick they're around to Scuttle, to more objectives, forward wards still. Teammate knows they still have a bit of a gold lead here. Actually, they don't, but I'm sure they feel like they do.
They lost that gold lead in that fight, and then the turret was wrestled back from them in the mid lane. So all of that slow gain advantage, at that point, you really just give up the dragon. If you aren't in a position to actually take it effectively, you just give up the dragon. Just sacrifice the dragon, let it go, don't fight, because you're not fighting around a power spike for your entire team. Maybe one person's calling it. You're thinking, I'm Azir, I have my Nashor's Tooth, he has an Athene, so let's go for it. Honestly, does not turn out to be the right decision.
Now, is there a timer on this? Do they have a time to finish the game? Do we need to see Imagine come up in the next 15, 20 minutes?
They do have an Olaf composition with a Lulu, so Lulu does actually scale fairly well with the movement speed, getting hyper carries into the back of the squad,
less
big bruisers.
Yeah.
They don't scale an incredible amount compared to the likes of an Azir and a Tristana. Those are really big mixed damage threat carries when you have 1 physical, 1 AD. So Teammate are still in a very good scaling position.
Definitely on the mind of Imagine here as they have a bit of a lead now.
Yeah, I wouldn't put a timer on it though. I feel like you can always play around this team composition.
Okay. Good news for Imagine. Teammate definitely has some tricks up their sleeve here coming out of the LCS. Well experienced in long games. They know how to use that endurance. Looks now, Imagine walking around power and numbers. Still need to get a few of these wards up. See the bottom side of their jungle is completely dark, but they have also kind of ridded their jungle, or rid, I should say, ridded, making it worse today, of all the wards that Teammate was putting down there. So getting better on that front as they start some other ones.
Yeah, hold that line for 3 minutes and then all their wards disappear. They were able to do that to the bottom side of the jungle, but they still need that top side turret. And it looks like there's just been Baron bait after Baron bait, kind of subtle Baron bait.
Super early, right?
Teammate
like,
is
will they bite? Will they
walking
bite?
into the pit. Hey, come check this out.
Yeah.
Try
you
to
just
bait
have
them
to have
in
like Azir throwing up soldiers from the outside. We're totally attacking.
They're just dancing, but they make them look like they're swinging.
Baby getting some wards. Push those forward as well. This Baron Pixel Brush ward has just been alive for days. It looks like it actually just died with the placement of a different ward as they move down towards the bottom here. It looks like they're going to steal the red.
Yeah, the one that's really been alive for days has been that pink ward off to the left of mid.
And it's been hit.
Yeah, the one
just
that's
neglected now.
Placed by ManCloud. They know it's there. They tapped it 3 times. It's got 2 HP left. They just can't get to that position. Yeah, I want to go back to these Baron baits, these kind of quote-unquote tiny little baits where it's, hey, check it out.
You can see Baby noticed it. He threw one right inside the den.
Yeah, they keep doing that. But it's funny because Baron, for both teams, almost ceases to exist until one team says, hey, we'll make you think we're trying it. How many solo queue games do you have where you're like 40 minutes in, you're thinking nobody's tried Baron? It's because nobody's even looked at it. And as soon as one person looks at it, both teams immediately just start playing around Baron extraordinarily heavily. Both teams are playing around Dragon right now. You do have Tristana with 2 items, but the Blade of the Ruined King and Trinity Force completed for Steelback, so he's still at a rather large spike for himself. Rylai's did come through from Golden Glue, so right now Teammate actually have a slightly more team fight power. We'll see how it goes right now.
Chunky Fresh on the back, takes a lot of damage. He runs out the exhaust. Moon goes down very quickly. Good damage from Golden Glue. Cali Trolls gets out with a sliver of health, but can still offer the ultimate if he needs to Nien, and he will do so. Saves that on the ManCloud. ManCloud thinks it's going to be a lot coming coming in.
Oh my God,
he
so
turns. He knows he could get the kill, but it was too little, too late. Oh, he changed his mind as soon as he saw Calitrolls come in. And teammate now trying to organize for a bit of damage here. Help picks onto Porpoise. Not enough damage to take out Calitrolls. He might be able to get a good line through here.
TP?
This is the TP. Chunky Fresh had walked into the last fight. This could be a really big cleanup. But could it be anything? A huge disperse from teammate. Nien could go down. Nien lives dangerous game. Keeps him alive as well from any extra damage. Beautifully played by teammate as everybody gets out with a sliver.
Oh, that is an Olaf with no summoner spell for mobility. And it's not even a ghost at that. It is a flash. He's not able to get into that fight. He chases down a member that has mobility, and he gets out alive. 3-0 and a dragon picked up for teammate, the third of the game for them. I talked about their spikes. Now they're playing around their spikes. You have 2-item Tristana, you have your attack speed multiplier, but you have this Azir that has your Nashor's Tooth and your Rylai's. Everybody who walks up is getting slowed in this choke point. And you create a choke point too with your ultimate. Right. It was a rather good ultimate that caused people to walk to the side. Chunky Fresh, he's the one who has to take all the damage, but he also gets the wild growth on him. Not the target you want a wild growth is that meaty tank who doesn't even get enough damage down. Man, dodging those glitter lances at the end. Calitrolls, I immediately regret this decision. I was saving you. Almost.
That's like the learning process of the Calitrolls, though. It's like been perfected now. Before it would have went in and he would have died, and then it would have been like, no, we can do another one, and then kind of everybody domino falls after that. There, he got out immediately. He went back in and made all the right plays. It's definitely different Calitrolls in the beginning of the split, for sure.
It's a good thing he has a teacher as his coach.
There you go.
Learning process definitely coming in handy. Learning from the past.
Bring all of his utensils to class. He has learned much. And now they already have an Aegis out as well. That's going to help quite nicely for them. Some other items. Talisman of Ascension actually just finished. Dodo had that not completed last fight, so that big payoff from that last dragon. 3 towards them as well, 26 minutes in. Only 6 kills, too. They're not facing off too much. When they do, it's all for one team.
Yeah, that's true. Went 3 kills to 0, 3 kills to 0 backwards.
Yeah.
It's because teams are playing around their composition strengths at the right time. That's the thing, is you get champions and you think, okay, we have this champion, we can win the fight. But it's this champion at this point in the game relative to the power of everybody else. Because if you think back to the previous fight, it went 3-0 in favor of Imagine. And it was a 4v5 because Calitrolls ended up getting to the fight. They wiped somebody else off the map, but they still walked away with 3 kills.
Chunky Fresh got taunted out of his teleport in that one.
Yeah, so he never showed up. It was actually a really good play by Calitrolls, but Imagine ended up winning the fight 4v5 because they were playing around their spike of the Trinity Force, and Baby played it really well.
I'm gonna give credit to teammate on that as for the fight too, because that's the fight they just lost. That's the fight that got a triple kill for Steelback, and they still attempted the same thing. The vision, though, really, really helped. In and out of the brushes there, back and forth, and they still had all that they needed.
It's a strange thing where both teams have taken a fight that was not good for their spike, and they've taken one that's really good for their spike.
It's true. Maybe we can do it again. It looked good last time. On paper, definitely different than in-game.
You have to be conscious of these things. There's so much pressure on these guys. One team is fighting for their LCS career to stay alive. The other one is fighting for a lot of these members to get into the LCS for the first time. Chunky Fresh, Moon, new guys on the block here.
That fresh blood, they want it. Coming in here to make an impact with a new name. Instead, Imagine as an LCS team, if they can do it, Baby just finished up his Face of the Mountain. Across the front items there, you have the Luden's Echo finished up as well for ManCloud after his Athenes. Void Staff coming in for Golden Blue next, it seems like, as well for his item.
Yeah, Luden's Echo is going to make ManCloud a damage threat in the mid lane very early on. Usually you'll see Lulus go for the utility build. You see them go for the Ionian Roots and Lucidity. Damage here for ManCloud being another threat on this team, making sure they have magic damage to supplement their AD.
Steelback. Talked a little bit about him before. Definitely brings a lot to the team. The confidence in that dragon fight as well. You can see him in great positioning behind his team, getting all the kills from the right spot. And it pays off, like you said, as soon as he got over here. Calls were a bit crisper.
It's gonna be...
The play was better. See if this call becomes...
Oh, look at Baron. A lot of them can get over this wall. 3 of these guys can get over the wall.
That ward's just outside, too. It would not cut across, I don't believe. It might see a bit into the den, but if they stay on the backside...
I want to see if that ward sees them. They jumped in. that going to see it? Yeah, we're right outside.
It does not.
Oh.
It does not. But they're going to see Porpoise coming out. They instantly know. It's not going to matter at this point. They may just be able to set up some waves and push them out a little bit more so they don't have too much to deal with here if they lose a fight. But Imagine now on damage control after getting a Baron snuck by Team 8. Very nicely done. And that's that mentality of doing something first. We kind of saw Imagine follow a little bit in the early part of the game. You could see that wasn't even something on their plate after the wards have been cleared, and it was for a bit.
Yeah, you
kind
want
of
to be
fell to the wayside.
You want to be proactive, not reactive,
Exactly.
because then you're playing the enemy's game. And Team 8 have been dictating a little bit of the pace here for the last team fight and that Baron. But Dragon's up at 25 seconds. They have Baron. They have these extra stats on them. And they're ready to fight it again. Honestly, they're spiked at a good point. Void Staff for Golden Glue already, so he's going to be able to shred through Chunky Fresh still with his double MR items.
Tough. Also, Dodo with that Glacial Shroud starts coming out. He's going to have his Zeke soon for Nien, and that's going to be very, very big for him. Looks like they're going to get Dragon number 4. This could be contested by a few rockets. I don't know if much more. Great
go down
wave
so
in the
quickly,
top lane. Can't really be done anything, or nothing can be done about that, unfortunately, for Chunky Fresh.
It's 4th Dragon. That means 36.5 minutes in. It could be 5th Dragon for Team 8.
We've seen a lot of 5th Dragons in these series.
I think we've seen one every game so far today. We have.
That's true. Oh, Chunky Fresh on the bottom side. This is where teammate starts to feel pretty strong, but he throws on the Ragnarok. Moon gets caught up in the cocoon as he goes in, but they're going to have to start backing out. One more shot from the end, decides not to jump in. They see Golden Glue coming in. They have everything they need to keep pushing. I think being thwarted up top here. Cali Trolls and Chunky Fresh are going at it. Or rather, Chunky Fresh was in the bot. That's right.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Cali
I was like,
Trolls
is he
just-
hiding under the coin? No, he actually just got almost killed in the bot lane.
Solo pushing top.
Yeah.
But this is the siege composition. When this team gets Baron, your wave clear on Imagine is pretty much Corki and Lulu.
Home
so you're looking
guards.
for the fights here. Here comes the
Oh my word, he doesn't even
man.
get to the choke point. He gets taken down by Nien. Definitely an error called in there by Chunky Fresh trying to initiate, but Team 8 was just in a death ball, ready for that. You're going to try to get in on Dodo, onto Porpoise, also a Shen.
Nien's still going!
And the Olaf may get in, but it's not going to get to any of the champions. Nien comes up with a nice amount of kills there, and they're onto the inhibitor.
That's a clean ace. They still have Baron to push through. At least an inhibitor here going over. Might even be another turret on top of it. You can see 15 seconds until Chunky Fresh. 10 until Moon.
That's going to be it. You have
that might even
Tristana.
be game.
That's the demo of the base of Imagine coming in for game 1. A back and forth quickly, but as soon as Team 8 could find more consecutive fights, they took the win at game 1. And Team 8 take down Imagine in the first game of the series.
Imagine got no more kills since the 3 they got in that first Dragon fight. Team 8 then played around their power spikes and the positioning.
Right.
And when they got that sneaky Baron, you talked about, and you asked me if there's a timer on this team competition. There isn't really a timer, but if you give them a Baron, they will take objectives faster than any other team comp because of these two demolitionists on
Not
the
a
squad,
timer.
Seer and Trist.
I feel like you can categorize it as moments you have to act, though, or moments where you have to be the one in charge, kind of dictating what's going on. Too many times where they were just kind of walking around the wards. That was all the information that Team 8 needed to engage another fight, to go and ward Baron or sneak over the backside and take it without knowledge.
Yeah, very sneaky Baron that really broke the game wide open. They got so much off of that. And then when they took the ensuring fight at the next Dragon, and then the bot fight after that, just really well played there by Team 8. The only slip up in that entire game was that start where they took that Dragon fight and they lost 3 members to 0 because it was a 4v5. They were actually in a position to win that fight just based off of numbers, and it was them coming back, or them pushing an advantage because they had the mid turret. They had the priority in the jungle early on due to Man
All the
Cloud.
wards.
Exactly, or due to Golden Glue in the mid lane. So Golden Glue shoved up with the Azir, and they had an advantage coming into these fights. It was just the time. That's one of those dragons that you give up. That's one of the dragons that you cede to the enemy. They still got it, but it ended up being 3 kills that went over, and it could have been worse.
So this is where I kind of draw back as well, and I feel that you're right. Like Team 8 as well, to come out in the Dragon fight they just lost to win another one on that was pretty crazy. So they were adapting immediately in the game. But is this the time where, like I always say, you have 5 games to play with, you kind of let the other team run game 1? Is this where you go outside the box and run your game 2? Is this where you kind of test the waters and see what you can do? Because I feel like you're an unknown to teammate. Maybe they watched a bit of the Challenger series, but I feel like you could throw more curveballs as the up-and-coming.
Yeah, I feel like the Lulu first pick ended up not paying out for them, and I wanted to see something like an Azir there for ManCloud. It's a great champion for him. You lock that in early, you have your siege potential, and they're never going to swap sides. They're both on these sides for all 5 games.
Right.
So you have to swap it up in picks and bans in order, not in terms of, oh, I'm going to get counterpick next game.
Well, we'll see what they do. For a deeper dive into Teammates' first win, let's head over to the analyst desk.
Thank you, Riv. I want to hammer home what Zyrene was saying here. Let's start in picks and bans because, again, we're seeing interesting prioritization from the Challenger teams today. In this game here, Imagine putting a lot of weight on that first pick, Lulu.
Yeah, big fans of the Lulu-Olaf combination. Saw TSM do it, wanted to go wild in the back line. But the thing is, with the Olaf strategies, he's not a main engaged tank. All of his threat depends on, does he have enough damage, and does the rest of his team, are they behind him with enough damage to force your enemy to run away? If your enemy doesn't have to run away, they just stand like that and focus you down, then the Olaf teams completely crumble.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of saw like how much little he did towards like the mid and late game. You know, he like tried to get in there, but then he just got blown up and died. So
you have to hit one of your Gragas ultimates to like separate the team. You have to have some sort of somebody else initiate the fight or break up the fight or something for him to be effective.
Yeah, they didn't have much CC. They had like, they had Braum, I think, for their initiation, and I guess Gragas, but that's really not that good of an initiation.
Yeah, you have to like be really good at bowling with those Gragas ultimates to make that happen.
Well, and so then the flip side of this is the fact that Team 8 is then able to take Azir in their second rotation and Shen as their last pick. You know, again, when we look at, I mean, you can speak to it, Apollo, how highly those two champions are weighted in the LCS, that they are they're either traded as first picks, they're banned. And here we don't see anything the like. And as you mentioned, the Azir playing a big part in being able to do that sustained damage that was really, threatening. Imagine every time they went for that engage.
Yeah, I mean, I was just surprised that they had Azir, so like you said, second rotation, and then you saw what happened in mid lane. He got the turret. I didn't see what time he got it, like maybe 13 minutes in the game?
It was very early.
Yeah.
It was
pretty early. It was crushing in CS, and then he was able to get the turret really early.
By himself,
I think it was when he was getting the third blue buff, so it would have been around 13 minutes.
So, I mean, Lulu made the mistake of going to blue buff, gets the turret killed, and then Azir can do whatever he wants with Elise. Go top turret, they got the tier 2, they got wards and then bots of jungle, they can do whatever they want.
Yeah. Yeah, I find it very interesting looking at the champion side, knowing that Teammate came out with Alistar, Azir, Shen, 3 very highly prioritized picks. Tristana, one of the top 80 carries, and Elise, another high priority jungler. So really don't feel like at any point did they have to sacrifice something in a position, over to Imagine. Now, as we move into the game, though, we did see that the gold lead was relatively even for the majority of the game, up to about 40K, only within 1 or 2K at any point. We saw a really interesting sneaky Baron call there from Team 8, which kind of blew the game open from what was somewhat of a stalemate.
Yep. I mean, anytime you have people that can jump the wall and DPS that quickly, the Azir Tristana backing up Elise swapping forms for percentage damage, they took it so quickly. And they were constantly clearing vision in front of it as well, so got kind of hard for Imagine to check it, but they never really made the commitment to make sure they were safe and to protect against that strategy. But I want to kind of go back even to the level 1. I like Teammates' invade. They started this game off on the right foot, catching Imagine off guard. Imagine we're just opening with the standard. We're going to double jungle with our jungler and our top laner. And you know that he gave Gromp experience over to Shen to get level 2 so you can do the second buff faster. And then they come in and they stop your double jungle. And Moon's sitting there like, oh, I'm level 1 Gragas without smite now. This is going to suck. So that kind of messed up their early game for, Moon, who's going to be one of the big early playmakers. Did end up getting fine with experience going back up to the top lane and everything, but Team 8 are the ones, sort of dictating the pace of this game from the beginning.
Well, there's a really solid game sense there in Moon's trip back to the top lane to save the dive, the 4v2 dive in the top lane, which you just mentioned is what kind of got him back in XP since both junglers showed up there. So, that's indicative that the game sense is there from the jungler now. Can they, turn that game sense into things like checking Baron at the proper time?
I mean, it could have been a lot worse for them, too. Like we said, he was level 1, had to go to his other side of the jungle, but then he actually got level 2, went top to defend the dive. So it was it was good that that worked out, right? Because they were able to again defend the turret.
It could have been.
Could have been a lot worse, right? So it was good by him, and then it just stalled out. I mean, the game was just stalled out at that point. They did nothing until maybe one team fight. And at Dragon, I'm pretty sure.
They had the interesting team fight at Dragon where Corki picked up the triple kill pretty early in the game, you know, off of kind of that mid-game power. But
And that was mostly due to miscommunication or just their carries not on the same page. Golden Glue and Yan just run opposite directions, and that allows Steelback to just go aggressive and jump right in. I mean, you were talking about it on the desk, Apollo, like Azir and Tristana are a great double carry combo because they both have disengage. They can like protect each other. But then Dragonfly like every man for himself, but they ran different ways. Nian's like, I'm out of here.
And he suicided, unfortunately. But I think and then the next team fight, you know, they kind of did the proper way, right? Just defending each other. And so I'm glad that they adapted onto that note. And then Steelback did really well in that team fight for sure. He had Trinity Force, you know, 3 triple kill, and then eventually got a Bork off that, or at least a Cutlass. But it stalled out too late, and I think the next, I don't know if they fought before Baron or if it was after Baron.
After Baron in the bot lane was where they got the ace and pushed the win off of that inner turret. So, you know, a pretty sudden victory there for Team 8. But once they secured that Baron, you know, they knew what to do with it. That's some of their veteran status showing through. Well, we're going to step away while Imagine and Team 8 reset for Game 2. We'll be right back with more league action in just a few minutes.
Yeah, I'm tired. I went to sleep after that game.
Now listen here, youngster. You're not tired. You're pumped up. You're ready to win, dude.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about. That's some army shit.
Coming in from Steelback, this could be that cleanup. We were waiting for the fight. That's a double. Could be the triple. Shot goes over the wall.
Get on off. Get on off. Peel back. This way. Peel back. Yeah, I think he's it. Just kill him. Kill him. Kill him. Just peel. Peel. Guys, peel.
Stunning.
80. Go low.
I have shield. Shielding.
Chunky's really low.
Dude, looking for the fights here. Here comes the
Oh my word. He doesn't even get to the choke point. He gets taken down by Nian. And Team 8 take down Imagine, the first game of the series.